and bring her. Yeah, just bring her in. That works.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me bring him the thumbnail. Transition over.
Are you ready for hats? All right, here we go.
Are you ready for some hats?
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Are you ready for the hats time?
I'm wearing my Burger Noodle 5 shirt.
Hey,
I see that.
looks familiar.
Hey.
Nice.
It's one of my favorites, and I'll tell you, because it confuses enough people. Strangers will be like, I love that. What is that? And I'm like, well, have you heard of my show?
Is it a comfortable shirt? Is it
super
nice
comfortable? Yeah. No, it's kind of just the right size where it's a little bit big for a woman of my size, but in the right way, so jogging and, hanging out.
Good.
Yeah.
Plus it's got great art.
Yes, it does.
People who are fans of burgers, noodles, and hands are always interested in that shirt.
What's not to like?
Yeah.
Noodle 5.
But seriously, it is. There are certain conversation piece kinds of like T-shirts or hats or whatever. We all have them.
Yep.
And this is my current. It's top
the
dog.
one.
It's
that's
the
great.
one. Yeah, because it's just like it seems approachable, but yet people don't know what it is. They want to know more.
Len.
What's that?
I have one for you.
Oh,
I just keep forgetting to mail it.
All right. I have a bunch of stuff for you that I need to get to you, and I forget to mail it.
We should just meet like in Wyoming, halfway. Yeah.
Oh, so Tom, have you seen the new Joker film?
No, I have not.
Okay, so you don't have anything for your rating system.
No, I don't. I haven't seen it. I have seen the 13 million it made on Thursday, which has made me very excited for the movie draft.
Right.
In which I own it.
Oh, I didn't realize it was out.
Yeah, it came out last night.
I was super late to the game on this whole thing. I talked about it for the first time a couple weeks ago. Like, oh, Joker, huh? People want to see this or what?
Yeah.
Turns out there's quite a bit of conversation about it.
Yeah.
We all saw that too. Interesting. All right.
So,
well, are people seeing it this weekend?
I might see it this weekend. I
don't know if I will have time to see it. I also want to see the Downton Abbey movie. So.
So speaking of movies,
feature. That would be a head screwer.
I found out this morning that the Russo brothers will be filming a new film here in Cleveland this month. Which is pretty cool. And the star is Tom Holland. I was like, wow, that's like a big deal, right? So like for this month, and it's weird because I found out
That's called the Avengers Infinity War. That already happened.
That's what, I had to tell my kids, no, it's not an MCU film. It's it's another film, but they're in here. Yeah. Cause it was weird because there's a visual effects person that I know that's working on it. And I saw that they're in Cleveland. I'm like, what are you doing here? And then, I can't really say. And then I saw this thing and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. That they're in town for this. So I was, it was really interesting to me because I told all my kids because I knew they'd be excited. And then I was like, I told my daughter because I thought my daughter was like into Tom Holland.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
You made it.
It's not recognizing my webcam. Hold on.
Oh, that does that. Figure that out.
But so I found out that not everybody's into Tom Holland. I thought Tom Holland was like the thing that all women and all girls are into. No?
Let me Google him and see if I'm into him.
Why would people not be? What did they say?
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Spider-Man?
Oh,
what do you mean when you say people are into him? Do they like him as an actor, or do they see him as a heartthrob kind of?
Both.
Hey, thank you, Flower NYC, for subscribing for 4 months with Twitch Prime.
Awesome.
On a 2-month streak, even. Look at you.
Question.
What was wrong with the other guy who did all the Spider-Man movies?
Andrew Garfield?
No, before that.
Tobey Maguire.
Oh, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
He got too old.
Oh.
He was that was like Spider-Man 3. That's what happened to him.
I didn't know Spider-Man had to be like real young. This guy looks very young. Not in a bad way.
They decided. Well, first of all, Spider-Man is in high school in the comics.
Yeah.
When he
Eventually
starts.
he moves to college.
So this guy, Tom Holland, is actually older than the person he's playing, but so were Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Sure. He just has a baby face.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Just everyone
All right.
just chill out that Sarah didn't know that Tom Holland played Spider-Man. Okay, just relax.
She's not a big MCU person. She's not.
Has he been in other things?
That's totally fine.
No, this is kind of his,
So,
I mean, yes,
okay.
he has, but this is the
So,
Spider-Man
alright.
was his breakout role.
Yeah. This movie that's being filmed in Cleveland this month, I think will be one of the first movies that he's done outside of the MCU. But ironically, it's with the Russo brothers. So
It's certainly the first one since he became a big star doing Spider-Man that he's done. Yeah, and working with the Russo brothers is pretty great. It's important for him to try to do some roles that aren't Spider-Man.
yeah.
He's got another film coming out that I think is already done where he's not Spider-Man.
He is Spider-Man though. He's never going to get it past that.
I mean, yeah, just the way.
Well, apparently he's a good dancer.
Yes. He
So
he does all his own
that's
stunts.
interesting to me.
Yeah, he does all his own stunts in the movies because he's like he's a dancer and stuff. But anyway, I was very surprised. So I told my daughter because I wanted to
You were very surprised that not all women have exactly the same opinions on everything.
Well, I just thought that my daughter was like into Tom Holland. So I texted her and I was like, "Hey, Tom Holland's going to be in town for the month."
And she's like, "It's not Thor, Dad." Come on.
Thor. No, she's like, "Yeah, tell my, our cousin Faith.
Well,
Tell Faith she's into him."
In fairness, when you said Tom Holland, I thought of like the really attractive Tom somebody
Tom
actor.
Selleck?
No, not Tom Selleck. Someone in the 30-year span between the two.
Thomas C. Howell.
Bob Hope?
Tom Segura?
No, he's like shoot. Now I have to think of a movie he's been in. Okay, hold on. I'll find it.
Tom Holland is in the current
Tom
war.
Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston. There you go.
That's, Reverend Pucks put that in.
Tom Holland is in the current war,
Oh God,
which is
not him.
which is a non-Spider-Man movie about Tesla and Edison.
What is it called?
The Current War, about currents like electrical.
Tom Hiddleston was the guy who played Loki in the Avengers.
She doesn't know the MCU.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I know who Loki is, and no, that's not who I'm thinking of as an attractive person.
Tom Holland was also in Pilgrimage, The Lost City of Z, Edge of Winter, and In the Heart of the Sea.
Buzzes and Whirs. Buzzes and Whirs. Don't know who that is.
What is the Heart of the Sea?
In the Heart of the Sea, wasn't that a Stephen King-based movie, I think?
He made
a recounting of a New England whaling ship sinking by a giant whale in 1820.
Oh, so kind of like Moby Dick's Revenge.
I know who I'm thinking of. Tom Hardy.
Oh,
he's attractive?
You mean Bane?
Tom Hardy is very attractive.
Is he?
Yeah.
You mean Mad Max?
I mean, again,
Mad
subjective.
He's not my cup of tea. I'll say that.
I was in there somewhere. Is it Tom? He's in there.
Tom Hardy is a good-looking man.
He looks like
He is a very good-looking man.
He's that guy from Peaky Blinders.
Sure.
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, Tom, the Tom guy, the actor.
The one named Tom.
He was he was young
I'm
Patrick
sitting here
Stewart.
not taking offense, just so you know.
That's where I remember him from, right?
The good-looking Tom.
The good-looking Tom.
Wasn't he Patrick Stewart?
Tom,
Yeah, it was young Patrick Stewart in Star Trek Nemesis.
Tom Hardy played young Jean-Luc Picard, not young Patrick Stewart, but yes, in Star Trek Nemesis. That's
They're
right.
one and the same.
Wow, really?
It's like Clark Kent and Superman.
Well, it wasn't even young Jean-Luc Picard. Actually, it was a Romulan raised human
clone
from the DNA of Jean-Luc Picard. Yeah, was it a clone?
Yeah.
Hey.
Anyway, I'm not sure that that's helping Sarah understand Tom Holland any better.
Oh, it's
Listen,
not Tom Holland.
I just was like, I heard Tom Holland. I thought Tom Hardy. It was all very confusing. Everyone was like, he's Spider-Man.
I'm interested to find out, I think like Henry Cavill, I think is a good-looking man.
He's a good-looking man.
You're interested to find out if anyone else thinks Henry Cavill is a good-looking man.
He's going to be in town.
Getting to the point where we're like, okay, who else is cute?
Yeah. No, here's the thing.
Who else is on Len's list?
I can look at like a guy like Henry Cavill and think, oh, that guy's I can see why women would be interested in him.
No, he's. I mean, that's a good look.
But like Tom Cruise, I never understood why women felt he was attractive.
But eye of the beholder for men and women.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
It's the board.
I mean, Chris Hemsworth is the exception.
Well, I can see why women love Chris.
Yeah, every living being.
Is that on Tom Merritt's list?
Well, Tom and I go see all the Thor movies when they come out.
Together, yeah.
They're Thor buddies.
And we sit in the theater and go, Thor, whenever he gets on screen.
I know.
Wasn't there like a scientific paper on Chris Hemsworth or something?
There's a fun fact that when Tom and Len go to the movies together, watch Thor, they bring their hammers, touch them right before.
That's right. Nice. That's
We're not worthy.
I mean, Jason Momoa, not a bad-looking guy.
Jason Momoa is a good-looking guy in like a WWE
universal
way.
Feeling.
You mean like in a professional wrestler sort of way?
Yes, it's a professional.
I'm glad during
wrestler.
all of this, Shannon was able to get her webcam working.
There you go.
You know, me too.
Yeah, I'm just watching Shannon's reaction to our discussion. It's kind of funny.
You're probably thinking we're all wrong and we're totally missing the best hottie on the big screen right now.
Actually, kind of agree with Sarah.
You like Tom Hardy?
I know you would.
Jason Momoa.
Oh, Jason Momoa.
Yes, I mean, there is a wrestler type of look, I suppose. It's probably the hair and the tats or whatever, but that is a.
We should petition the Girl Scouts.
That is a beautiful man.
To make his
Jason
last name
Momoa
an official
the tallest
cookie.
drink of water.
He shaved his beard and stuff off. Does he not as attractive without his
I've
beard?
never heard anyone say Jason Momoa is not that cute. People are like, yeah, he's pretty cute. Aquaman sucked though.
He's all right.
He's got the physique going for him, I guess.
He's a beautiful
he's more
man.
than the physique, lad.
There's no Chris Hemsworth.
He's a beautiful man, but I would respect
More than
him
just
as
a
a
pair
There's no
of
Tom
ribs.
Holland. I'll give him that.
It's true. It's hard to lose 200 pounds in a foot.
I do not like to objectify the men. I look at them as real human beings.
That's
and
right.
They're beautiful people inside
I objectify
and out.
everyone.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't.
That's not a good. No, I hate that. No, it's okay for me to be a jerk because I'm a jerk to everybody. Yeah,
That's not objectifying people. Isn't about being a jerk.
Roger.
Tom?
I feel like Roger's the last
project.
person
Don't
to
project.
actually do that. So it was an obvious joke.
No, I know, but it's one that many people aren't
but
going to
yes.
find that funny.
That's right. That's right.
So, it's funny. I don't know. I'm so out of it. I don't even know who the female equivalent of who does everybody think is the most beautiful female actress? I have no clue. No clue.
Yeah, there are a lot of them.
There's a
There's
carousel
so
of
many.
them.
Yes.
I couldn't even.
People-
I couldn't name one.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Charlize
she's
Theron is a favorite. I mean, she's
pretty. I guess.
She's also a really good actress and kind of in that statuesque way, and
she's smart. She's a good actress.
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
stunning. All of
those things.
All of that stuff. Miranda.
You know who I
Bachman,
think
that's
is pretty is Emma Stone. Now there's a beautiful woman.
Emma Stone is very pretty. Yes.
You know what's even more pretty though?
What?
Doing DTNS.
Oh my gosh, it's already that time.
What?
Wow.
Oh my
All right.
gosh, I got so wrapped up in
It's all about looks.
talking about Jason Momoa.
Here we go. A Jason Momoa free half hour, we think. In 3, 2. Coming up on DTNS, Google catches out another exploit, this time in Oops, Android. Disney is fighting with Netflix and Amazon, and why this time, when the government asks for weakening encryption, it's still a bad idea. This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, October 4th, 2019 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Studio Snubs Tover, I'm Shannon Morse.
Drawing the top tech stories from the shores of Lake Erie, I'm Len Peralta.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Ooh, Snubstober. I like that.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
For the video people, I even decored the decorations in the background just for you.
It's an apple cider maple pumpkin spice sort of feel. I like it.
It is a boots and flannel type of day.
Definitely.
Hashtag Snubtober.
Well, folks, if you like this kind of conversation, we were having a lot of it, talking about our favorite actors and actresses and all kinds of stuff on Good Day Internet. You can become a member and get access to that show at patreon.com/DTNS. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Apple told the Financial Times that it's acquired UK motion capture company iKinema. The company makes animation technology for games, VR, and more. iKinema specializes in real-time procedural animation from real-life people and also animals.
Microsoft issued an out-of-band update for all supported versions of Windows through Windows Update to fix an IE scripting engine flaw, as well as a zero-day Chrome exploit. The flaws were originally discovered and disclosed by Google's Threat Analysis Group, and Microsoft released a patch on September 23rd to address it. This required a manual install, but the fix is now being pushed out automatically. This out-of-band update won't replace the scheduled October Patch Tuesday on October 8th.
Nikkei reports its sources say Apple told suppliers to increase production of iPhone 11s by 10%. That's about 8 million more units. Suppliers speaking to Nikkei said Apple's original supply orders were conservative this year, initially placing orders lower than last year's. The increased production is reportedly mainly due to the iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Pro units, with revised orders actually a little bit down for the bigger iPhone 11 Pro Max.
Quibi founder Jeffrey Katzenberg and Quibi CEO Meg Whitman will deliver a keynote presentation at CES on Wednesday, January 8th, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. in the Park Theater at the Park MGM Hotel. We at DTNS will be there, but we're somewhat disappointed that they won't be several 10-minute keynotes strung over the entire week.
Yeah, I mean, commit to the bit. Come on, Quibi.
Yeah.
It's your thing. All right, let's talk a little bit about Google's Project Zero. What'd they find, Shannon?
Oh, all sorts of fun things. Google's Project Zero research group published details about an Android zero-day exploit being actively exploited in the wild. The exploit gives attackers full control of a device on at least 18 different Android handsets, including several Pixel 1 and 2 models and Samsung Galaxy S7, S8, and S9 models. The local privilege escalation can defeat local sandboxing and be delivered through the web if chained to a renderer exploit. It can be delivered on its own as well through a sideloaded app. The Android team says a fix is coming in the October Android security update, due out in just a few days, with patches already delivered to partners. Google's Project Zero team said it appeared the exploit was being actively used by exploit developer NSO Group or one of its clients. NSO Group, of course, denied its involvement. In a statement to Ars Technica, it appears the vulnerability was patched in Linux kernel 4.14 in 2018, and it made its way into Android after that, but it was never issued a CVE number, so it was not retroactively applied to older versions of Android.
Oh, that's why it's only showing up in Pixel 1 and 2 and the older Galaxy S7s. Yeah, this is something that probably most Android users, especially because it only applies to older models, need not worry too much about being a victim of. It's very specific. It has to be targeted, and it's a pretty sophisticated one, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is very sophisticated. That's and one of the reasons why they are looking at NSO Group as being the attacker behind this is because of its sophistication. So it's most likely being something that is run by a state-sponsored group or a state-sponsored attacker. I do want to give credit to Maddie Stone, who is one of the people in Project Zero who reported this. It was her first zero-day bug that she reported, and she runs in my, InfoSec community. So mad props to Maddie Stone on this. They do say that it is a high-severity flaw. But luckily it is targeted. So chances of us regular consumers being targeted in this is very minimal. With that said, though, that's not a reason to just not update your phone if you have a Pixel 1 or 2. It does include XL models, but 3 and 3XL and the 3A models are not included in this. So those are safe.
I'm a little curious about what happened when it didn't get a CVE number when they found this back in 2018. I can see where not having a CVE number would cause it to not be retroactively added to the Android update just because of the way project management happens. I mean, it would be great if there was some error correcting in the Google flow for that, but I'm wondering why that didn't happen, because theoretically, when this was patched in kernel 4.14, it should have been patched in all versions of Android. It wasn't a technical issue that prevented that. It was a procedural issue.
I agree. It could have just been a slip up. A lot of times there are vulnerabilities that never get CVEs, and a lot of times it just depends on how major they are. However, given that this one is a high severity flaw, you would think that it would have gotten that CVE in the past. So it might have just been that it was just accidentally never reported, and that does happen. So luckily now they were able to patch it in Android.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Maddie Stone. We appreciate your work. The Wall Street Journal sources say Disney will not accept advertisements from Netflix on its entertainment-related TV networks. So ABC Family, or it's not called that anymore, but the ABC networks that show sitcoms and that sort of thing. ESPN will still accept Netflix ads because it does sports. Disney told The Verge it reevaluated its strategy, quote, to reflect the comprehensive business relationships we have with many of these companies. And, not quoting anymore, it apparently found a mutually beneficial relationship with Comcast, Amazon, and Apple. It'll still run ads from them, but in Netflix's case, it did not. The Wall Street Journal also reports sources telling it Disney may not end up launching a Disney Plus app on the Fire TV because of conflicts over how advertising is handled on the Fire TV platform. Again, this is probably not Amazon wanting to run or monetize in-stream ads on Disney Plus. Probably has to do with the way things are counted or the way platform interface ads are handled, stuff like that. But it would be bad for both platforms if Disney Plus did not launch on the Fire TV. The Netflix one, I think, is a little more understandable. I mean, you don't expect to see NBC advertising on CBS when you watch shows on broadcast. Now, I know a lot of you are snarkily saying, I don't see ads anyway because I don't watch any of that stuff. But you know what I'm saying, right? It is a little unusual to
let a direct competitor advertise on your platform. You'd say, well, on the surface, of course, why would any company do that? But so many of these platforms are still in their infancy, really, that you kind of have to be reminded, like, oh yeah, old media wouldn't do this. If Disney doesn't want Netflix to advertise on their new platform because for whatever reasons that Disney has, it's not that surprising. It's business.
And honestly, I can see where they're saying, well, okay, we'll take an ad for Peacock because we're going to want to run an ad for Disney Plus on NBC, but Netflix doesn't have ads. And as far as I know, Disney may not be making any other television programs for Netflix or movies for Netflix since they dropped the Marvel stuff. So there may be a little bad blood in the production side over there as well.
I think you're probably right when you say that there might be some bad blood. It does kind of seem like that. And given that Disney is straight up just saying, no, we're not going to let Netflix advertise at all, do you think that it's going to hurt Netflix in any way? Or do you think that the market is already so inundated and subscribed to Netflix that it won't really mess them up?
Yeah, these kinds of things are never make or break, are they? It's not going to sink Netflix to not have ads on ABC, but every little bit helps, and ABC is a big platform, so it is going to hurt them a little bit. They'll have to find other ways to acquire their new subscribers, I guess.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how much the Disney folks might be folks that also aren't Netflix subscribers, because Netflix is enjoying, it's sort of been like top market dog for this sort of thing for quite some time, but there's a lot more competition now. Is there a point where Netflix is like, we need to advertise on that platform? And I don't think the company is there yet.
Well, they wouldn't want to advertise on the platform in the first place if it wasn't going to help them somewhat, right?
Exactly.
Netflix was spending, I think it was about 13% of their total ad spend in 2018 on Disney-owned entertainment network. So perhaps Netflix will find other ways to use that 13% of money and make some more awesome content for us.
That's the question, right? Will they spend that 13% on other things that fill the gap? Well, yeah.
The disputes don't end there, folks.
Oh, no.
The Prime Video app is no longer available in Apple's App Store, and neither Amazon nor Apple have commented on why this happened. The app was removed from the iOS and tvOS app stores in all regions except Australia, Guatemala, Hong Kong, Hungary, Israel, India, Kenya, Kuwait, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Madagascar, and Saudi Arabia. So Now the question is, what do these countries have in common? And why did it get removed from places besides these countries?
I mean, they're on the G through M spectrum for the most part, except for Australia and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Come on, Gumshoes, help us figure this out.
Yeah.
Where in the world is the Prime Video app?
Well, I think the main weirdness of this is that neither Amazon or Apple even had some sort of a boilerplate response like, hey, we're working on it, or, oh, we don't comment on these sorts of things. Nothing.
Yeah, I guess if it was a technical issue, you might expect Amazon to say, oh, there's an issue. We'll be putting the app back up later. Sorry, hang in there. But maybe Apple doesn't want them to say that. On the other hand, if there was like a real issue, you think Amazon might be touting like, well, Apple pulled it and we don't know why, right? But so they're both not wanting to say anything, which makes me think it's not conspiracy oriented. It's not a misunderstanding, but it's something neither one of them want to admit to at this point. Who knows?
Well, according to the TechCrunch article, they did place an update that says they learned the issue is technical in nature. But you're right. Neither company has said anything in relation to the technical issue. So, like, is it a privacy issue?
Right.
That's
is
technical?
I mean, because a technical issue could be like trying to put a subscription thing in there, right?
Exactly.
That it could be that. But I don't know. Maybe it's just a vulnerability or something that made it crash all the time. Who knows?
Well, hopefully everything's fine and we'll see that app back in place for everybody who's panicking on Twitter right now.
I mean, if you have it already, yours will still work. It's still there. It just can't get
no new downloads.
Yeah.
Yeah, no new downloads and no updates.
Right, exactly.
Well, the first all-electric NASA test plane, the X-57 Mod 2, arrived at the Armstrong Flight Research Center in California. NASA will test the plane's electric propulsion system with ground tests. The next phases include taxi and eventually flight, likely with the Mod 2 and the Mod 4 configurations, which will, unlike Mod 2, come with wings. NASA will share its finding with companies in the aerospace industry and government regulators. The eventual aim is to develop certification standards for electric aircraft, including urban air mobility vehicles, which you might call flying cars.
Yeah, some VTOL stuff. This is a big step for electric flights. Electric flights big not only for VTOL and so-called flying cars, but also for reducing pollution. And as Roger pointed out in our prep meeting today, just for reducing cost, because fuel is not only a polluter, but it also costs them a lot of money too.
I'm excited that they're stepping into this whole market and this whole appeal, because having NASA kind of be the forefront runner of this is very exciting. I mean, I feel like they know what they're doing. And they're also going to be working on those certification standards too, which is going to be huge for safety when this kind of market comes to consumers, albeit that's going to be very far in the future. But it is very exciting. I think now is absolutely the time to act on this kind of electric aerospace industry, because we do have so many issues currently with, climate and all of those kind of issues. We need to save our world.
The first A in NASA is aerospace, right?
Yay.
So sometimes we forget that's a big part of this. And there's some interesting stuff happening even on the ground with NASA right now. So thank you, NASA, for what you're doing. And we'll keep on top of this because I think electric flight is going to be an interesting space to watch.
Quick correction. It's aeronautics.
Aeronautics. Thank you, Roger. Palmer Luckey's Anduril company showed off footage of its Anvil battering ram drone, taking down both fixed-wing drones and quadcopters. Anvil is designed for short, fast flights to take out drones from below. Flight-critical components are positioned low to help Anvil land in one piece. Rogue drones and quadcopters are becoming a more common threat. Anvil is being designed for military uses in battle situations for the most part, not for domestic law enforcement at this point, but we know that this technology is often trickles down. And remember, we had the Gatwick Airport situation where they had to shut down the runways because there was a quadcopter that they couldn't find. So this is an interesting development in what I think is going to increasingly be one of those arms races of how do we protect the things we need to protect from quadcopters and drones. And this is a new way to do it and a demonstration that shows it working.
Yeah, I tried to think of what the equivalent is for something like this that people considered normal for military operations. I don't know, shooting down a plane, or all of that stuff is like, okay, well, that already exists, and sometimes it's necessary and will save lives. This is not necessarily going to be that all of the time, but yeah, shooting down drones. Even, I don't know, I read a story the other day about more and more drones bringing in contraband to prisons. Will the prison system be looking into something like this in order to circumvent this kind of thing? Yeah, probably. Because who else is going to do it?
And of course, most recently, the most famous current story is the allegations that quadcopters or drones were used to cause damage at oil refinery facilities in Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely.
So that is an actual military situation used for this as well. Folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. All right, let's get back into it with a discussion of U.S. Attorney General William Barr, UK Home Secretary Priti Patel, Australian Minister for Home Affairs Peter Dutton, and Acting U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kevin K. McAleen signing an open letter to Facebook today asking the company to delay plans for encryption in Messenger. For more than a decade now, under 2 different presidents, the United States Department of Justice has warned about going dark if end-to-end encryption is allowed to continue. And this particular letter seems to be responding to comments made by Mark Zuckerberg back in March. If you remember, in a wider announcement about changing the focus of what Facebook does to more private communications, Zuckerberg said, "In a few years, I expect future versions of Messenger and WhatsApp to become the main ways people communicate on the Facebook network. We're focused on making both of these apps faster, simpler, more private, and more secure, including with end-to-end encryption." At the time, everybody's like, great, you say you're going to do it. When? Now you have the government saying, please don't. Zuckerberg also added at the time, this is important to understanding this letter as well, when billions of people use a service to connect, some of them are going to misuse it for truly terrible things like child exploitation, terrorism, and extortion. Those 3 are quoted word for word in the open letter. "We have a responsibility," Zuckerberg continues, "to work with law enforcement and to help prevent these wherever we can. We are working to improve our ability to identify and stop bad actors across our apps by detecting patterns of activity or through other means, even when we can't see the content of the messages, and we will continue to invest in this work." This is also the talk when Zuckerberg announced the plan to integrate Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp into a unified messaging platform for interoperation. Now, to the letter today. That was all background you need to understand the letter. In the letter, it starts, "We are writing to request that Facebook does not proceed with its plan to implement end-to-end encryption across its messaging services without ensuring that there is no reduction to user safety and without including a means for lawful access to the content communications to protect our citizens." It comes at the time that the UK and the US is announcing a new agreement for data access designed to remove the barriers to cross-border surveillance. So they're saying, we're working to share surveillance data to catch bad guys faster, and so we need your help. The letter adds, companies should not deliberately design their systems to preclude any form of access to content, even for preventing or investigating the most serious crimes, as well as risks to public safety from Facebook's proposals are exacerbated in the context of a single platform. Remember that bit about Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger? A single platform that would combine inaccessible messaging services with open profiles, providing unique routes for prospective offenders to identify and groom our children. The bullet points at the end of the letter are many, but the most important ones: don't ask for a backdoor by name. They say, embed the safety of the public in system designs, thereby enabling you to continue to act against illegal content effectively with no reduction to safety and facilitating the prosecution of offenders and safeguarding victims. So they're saying, we're not asking for a backdoor. Keep things perfectly secure for everyone, but let us access things when we need to. So they're basically asking for something that most people have said might be impossible. The other bullet point is enable law enforcement to obtain lawful access to content in a readable and usable format. So they're saying you can't get out of this by just handing over the encrypted bits. You have to make it readable. You figure out how to do that. Anyway, in a response statement, Facebook said, we believe people have the right to have a private conversation online wherever they are in the world. As the US and UK governments acknowledge, the Cloud Act Remember that the announcement of better surveillance cooperation? That's part of the Cloud Act. The Cloud Act allows for companies to provide available information when they receive valid legal requests and does not require companies to build back doors. So Shannon, I know that's a lot for people to swallow, but the upshot is here we go again. Major government figures asking companies, and the new tactic here is asking companies, let us have access to plain text when we want it, but don't weaken encryption. We're not asking for backdoors.
It's so hard to look at that and just be like, no, that's basically what you are asking for. They are basically telling Facebook, hey, we really don't want you to take away that security for everybody, but we want a special key that just allows us to unlock the information and have this in plain text. That's what a backdoor is. Like, that's exactly what they are asking.
Well, and how insane to assume, well, okay, let's keep the bad guys out, but the government should have access to this. Like you said, Tom, it's like borderline impossible.
Well, here's the thing, too. And Stoic Squirrel asked this question just now in the chat. Does encryption preclude the government from getting a warrant for specific data? No, it doesn't. But it precludes properly encrypted communications from allowing the company receiving the warrant to comply. If Sarah and Shannon have a conversation that is end-to-end encrypted on my platform, and the government comes to me and says, hey, you know what? They were planning crimes. We have a warrant from a judge. You need to give us their conversation. I can't. Right. I can hand over the encrypted bits and say, hey, good luck, right? But that's not what they're asking for. They're asking for readable text. And I'm like, if it's end-to-end encrypted, only Shannon and Sarah can give you their conversation. I can't, even though it's on my platform.
And that's the whole point of it. And that's why, Facebook has been touting this as like a more private way for people to trust the company and talk on the platform. And the fact that this was sort of a letter of like, hey, Facebook, we'd like you to do this stuff. Nobody's making you do anything yet, but we want to voice our concerns and, kind of get it out into the sphere. Okay, well, that's one thing. What you're asking for doesn't make a lot of sense. And also, is it because you think that there are bad actors who will decide to use Messenger and WhatsApp who wouldn't have already understood that there are other platforms that they could be using this for where you can't read anything that's going on there either?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because there was even a tweet which was sent out by a guy named Ryan Singal, a fellow at Stanford Law's School Center for Internet and Society. He tweeted that 1457 federal criminal wiretaps in 2018, of all of those, only 74 federal were reported as being encrypted, and only 58 of those could not be decrypted. So it sounds to me like a lot of criminals aren't even using encrypted end-to-end platforms for these criminal acts that they are using. Either they don't know they exist, or they have not figured that out yet, which is perfectly fine with me.
I mean, there are going to be those, certain number that don't use the encryption anyway. There are going to be those certain number that if you say, hey, Facebook, hold off end-to-end encrypted on Messenger, because there's some criminals that are still using it. But over time, the serious criminals are going to move to Telegram. They're going to move to Signal or WhatsApp if it stays end-to-end encrypted, at which point you're not going to be able to do anything. Now, I suppose the plan could be, well, let's get Facebook not to do it in Messenger. Let's get them to roll it back in WhatsApp. Let's get Apple to change it in iOS, and then we'll go after Telegram and Signal next. But the fact is, it's math. And somebody can roll their own encryption somewhere that you won't be able to get to. So it's a game of numbers anyway. You're never going to get all the information. Mm-hmm. And so the question is adding the risk of weakening encryption for everyone worth the number of people you'll be able to catch by doing that?
Mm-hmm. I have a friend who works in criminal justice in the Midwest who has his full-time job was basically fighting criminals who were targeting children. And he had mentioned to me several times that one of the things they use in a lot of the cases is metadata. So you don't necessarily need to decrypt the plain text information to get that metadata, which Facebook is going to have anyway, even if they have an encrypted platform. The times that you are logged in, the people that you are connecting with, possibly your IP address, information like that, they can still use in those kind of cases. So while I can understand, and I do emphasize because, there's a lot of kids in my family, while I understand that there's a reason for that, it's not necessarily the thing that you have to make sure that these criminals get put in jail where they belong.
Right. Weakening encryption for everyone will also cause other crimes to happen. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing. It's like, well, okay, if we weaken encryption, maybe we catch a few more people doing these bad things, but we also allow these other people to do all these bad things that they wouldn't have been able to do in the past, because you've weakened encryption for fraudsters to be able to get into Messenger and do things that they couldn't have done otherwise.
Well, I hope this letter doesn't set a precedent for other companies, like you had mentioned, Tom, to have them go after more than just Facebook, because I believe that encryption is something that we have a right to have.
Yeah, maybe that should be a something that people push for from their candidates. Give me a right to end encryption.
Well, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit, Encryption Stories, very popular there as well. Submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Thank you in advance. Love your feedback. We also have a Facebook group. Come on in, facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow.
I mean, we call it a mailbag, but it's increasingly less bag and even less mail. This time we got a video.
Yeah, it's a modern world we live in, Tom. Ophir sent in a video clip in response to a story that we discussed the other day about automation and the idea, well, if robots take the human jobs, what do humans do so that everybody is happier and more fulfilled? Ophir says, just want to give my 2 cents on that topic of automation, productivity, and the future of work.
Hi, Tom and Sarah. This is Ophir here from lovely Tel Aviv, Israel. A huge fan of your show for a while now, and I wanted to bring up a topic that you guys discussed a couple of days ago. When you talk about automation, it's important to, also talk about RPA, robotic process automation. When we talk about automation, it's not always, those huge robots that we see in factories assembling, cars and stuff like that. It's oftentimes also robots that work on software, right? So, automating mundane, repetitive tasks that employees do, on their PCs. So just something I wanted to point out, it's a huge market and it's taking a huge part of that, the whole notion of productivity and efficiency at the workforce. So, if you want to learn more about that topic, search for robotic process automation on Google. Tons of companies that are doing amazing, stuff in that regards. So yeah, keep on doing your great job. Take care.
Oh, that's fantastic, Ophir. That's a really good point. Automation, we often equivalent, we make it equivalent to robots, but it's not always robots. It's sometimes just automation, software process automation. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'm glad to see that you kept your eyes on the road while doing that.
Yeah, thanks to Ophir, and thanks to all of our patrons. And Tom, our patron tiers have shaken up as of late.
Yeah, we're doing shout outs to patrons at the master and grandmaster level. This episode, big thanks to Tony Glass, Philip Shane, and Miss Music Teacher for their support.
Woo woo. All right, let's check in with Len Peralta, who's been drawn up a storm this entire show. Len, I cannot wait to see what you've chosen.
Yeah, I try not to put like an editorial spin on these things. Just sort of show what I, take something out of there. And when I took something out of the articles was the line that Facebook said that people have the right to have an online private conversation online. And that's sort of what this image is. You can take it how you want. It's two people having a conversation and a big microphone type eye coming in, listening to everything that people are saying. I'm not saying it's good one way or the other. I'm just saying this is what I took out of that entire discussion.
No,
so.
I mean, it's such a good image because you're such a good artist. I think people should go look at it on that, but then pay attention to the words that Len put in the background, because they're perfect examples of that sort of shady ground of like, well, maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. I don't know.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Good stuff,
do
man.
Do they rise to the level of something of a crime? Mm-hmm. It's, who knows? It's up to you. But yes, definitely check it out at my Patreon. You get it right now if you're a Patreon, patreon.com/Len, or at my online store, lenperaltastore.com.
Thank you, Len Peralta, as always. And thank you to Shannon Morse for being with us today. Shannon, let folks know where they can keep up with the rest of your work.
Well, thank you for having me. YouTube.com/Shannon Morse. It is the beginning of October, and October is Techtober. It's Snubstober. I have so many different reviews that are coming out this month that I can't even talk about yet, and I am so excited to post the videos on those. So now's the time to subscribe. Check out all my back catalog of tech reviews and travel vlogs on that channel, and be looking forward to some very exclusive and interesting reviews on some consumer products coming up very soon.
That is fantastic, folks. Go check it out. And also don't forget that we have new patron rewards. Become a member of DTNS and get a peek at our show rundown as we develop it, behind the scenes chats and more. And on November 1st, everybody who's at the $2 level, you have until November 1st to get to the $2 level, and you'll get a PDF copy of the official DTNS Good Day Internet Cookbook with recipes from the show hosts and some listeners, cover art by Scott Johnson. You can sign up right now at patreon.com/DTNS.
We love your feedback. Have I mentioned that before? Hey, we even have an email address where you can send in feedback. Feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday. Hang out with us if you can, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
See you Monday, everybody. Good night, Rob.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
The Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Boom. Good show.
Boom. Good show.
That was great, Shannon.
Thank you.
That was great, Len.
I had a blast.
Hey, it was
Me
fun.
too.
You guys know how to talk about tech. That's the one thing.
You know, thank you. We try really hard for that exact thing.
Is that what you guys are doing? That's great.
It's fun.
Good for you.
DTNS.showbot.tv if you want to see who created the title for today's show. That's where the suggestions show up when we're doing it live. We have several suggestions for today's show. It's Snubstober.
I like that one. That's one. That one
is good.
Yeah.
Prime Video or Prime Target. Dun, dun, dun. No government doors, back, front, or otherwise. Fight for your right to encryption.
You gotta fight
for your right.
Weak encryption. Still a bad idea.
No back doors. No back doors.
Actually, there was one by Peter D. Fisher who said, "Don't put in a back door, comma, just put a door in the back." Kind of like.
Oh, that would be the
Yeah.
government's way
Yeah.
of being like,
Yeah.
no, we're not. That's not what
We're
we're
not
asking
for a back door.
Something different than that.
Don't put in the back
Or
door.
in
Just
the
put a
back.
door in the back.
Yeah. Think of it.
It's a
Think of
door
it this
near
way.
the back.
Yeah.
To the
Right.
door.
Yeah.
Just
It's not a back door. That's not what we're saying.
We never would ask for that.
Yeah. No,
'Cause
the
we know
door
that
is
makes
just
you
in
so
the
angry.
rear-ish of the
a
home.
side door with a lock and a key that only us have.
What I love is that they've gotten to the point where we're not asking for doors. We're just saying whenever we want to read a message, you need to be able to let us do that. We don't, however you want to make that happen, that's up to you.
Oh man, it just crashed me up. Every single time I read this letter, I'm just like, oh you government.
That's like me saying I don't care. I want to be on the moon tomorrow. I don't care how you make it happen, but I want to be on the moon tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't want to take your seat on the rocket.
When I
just want to be on the moon tomorrow.
When I spend money, I want more money to just appear in my bank account. I don't care how it happens. I'm not telling you how to make it happen.
Yeah, I want you to cut my taxes. I'm not saying you don't need tax money. I just want to pay fewer of them.
It'll have on anything. That's not my problem. I'm not the tech guy.
So don't put it in the back door. Just put a door in the back.
It's too long.
That's funny.
It's too long.
How about yeah. What if we just said not a back door, just a door in the back?
I think it's still too long.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm seeing how they show up on players, and you get like
5 words.
Yeah, pretty much. And so every word after that is just kind of lost.
Right.
No government
Not on the
doors.
web. What's that?
No government doors.
No government doors. Yeah, that would work.
That would work.
Done.
All right, Neck Guy Green with the suggestion, and a honorary Peter D. Fisher shout out for the very good suggestion. GDI.showbot.tv for titles for the wider show, Good Day Internet.
All the hot Toms.
Makes me uncomfortable, but yeah.
All the hot times.
Without context, you're like,
mostly because I'm not in the group.
Yeah.
Fans of burgers, noodles, and hands.
Speak for yourself, Tom.
Yeah, that was implied that Tom, Len, and Roger are part of the Hot Toms.
I'm not a Tom.
Of course.
I don't mind really.
I'm actually going to go see the Hot Toms tonight, man. They rock and roll.
They really do. They put on a good show.
Sounds like a show at Vegas. Hot Toms.
The Hot Toms.
The Hot Toms.
Well, it sounds like hot tamales, which is a pretty good snack.
Right.
So which one then? The Tom.
I feel like I can't properly weigh in on this one. So
all the Hot
you guys
Toms
have to decide.
All the Hot Toms.
Sounds like
Jason
McDonald's
is no
ad.
Tom.
Is that what you're going with?
I like that.
So all the Hot Toms.
All the Hot Toms.
Okay.
If Glenn can
guy.
sing it, it's the title.
Yeah.
You know, it might be Tom Hot Sauce, right? Ooh,
Hey,
spicy.
is
Tom
that the criteria, Roger? If for a good title, if I can sing it, it's the title.
It's in the running, sure.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
Let me see if I can. What can I do for these other ones?
I don't know.
Fans of burgers, noodles, and hands.
Nah.
Exactly.
Oh, I liked that
a
one.
commercial.
That was
Fans
nice.
That's a cute one. Yeah.
Noodles and hands. Dun, dun, dun.
Bum, 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 bum. The Tom
Like a
Show.
jingle.
Bum, 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 bum. The Tom Show.
That's just going to be my new show, the Tom Show.
I hear that's coming out on Apple Plus, right?
Yeah, Apple TV Plus. Yeah. But they won't allow me to advertise it on ESPN.
Oh. You know, you were freaking me out because I was like, oh man, Prime Video is gone. But when you said that it's still there, it just doesn't update.
Yeah, it hasn't been removed from your device. It just you can't download an update, or if you didn't have it, you can't get it right now. It is weird though.
That is weird. It's all, you know what? Everything is because of Disney Plus. They're screwing everything up. Everybody's freaking out. What are we gonna do? What do we do? Who knows?
Who do we do it to? What happened?
There's didn't Josh Donaldson score first for the Braves yesterday? Like, are we just rerunning yesterday's game? Sorry, baseball.
I got the reference, but I don't have your answer.
To go on to the App Store and look for Prime Video to see if maybe it showed up while we were doing the show, and I got distracted by notification. See, it's why you should just turn them off.
Notifications by and large terrible.
Amazon Prime Video back in the store.
Well, back in the store.
Back in the Apple.
I'm updating it right now.
Boom. It's back. In
New
the
X-ray
Apple
release
Store.
starting today. You'll have access to the Prime Video exclusive X-ray feature for select live sports. I bet there was a technical issue with X-ray that was screwing stuff up, and they said just pull it down while we fix it.
Pull it.
Let's see. Has there been any announcements? That's the next follow-up.
Who here has subscribed already to Disney Plus? Has anybody
I have not. I'm kind of waiting for someone to be like, yeah, you should do it, sir, and here's why. And then
Well, you definitely should do it. I'm just wondering, I'm waiting to see.
Oh, so why wouldn't I have then?
Right. Well, I want to see what more of the packages are.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Oh, you mean the bundles?
Yeah, the bundles.
Well, there's only two. You either get it on its own, or you get it with Hulu commercials and ESPN Plus.
There isn't anything
ESPN
else
Plus.
commercials with Hulu. It's all we all have to
I think you can then upgrade the bundle to no commercials, but I'm not sure if that doesn't wipe out your discount. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, probably.
But I went ahead and paid for Disney Plus ahead of time because I'm going to need it for Cord Killers. So I'm like, I might as well just see how this sign up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it comes down to one of those things where it's like for sports, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I don't know. Yeah, you can bundle it in with two more services that I don't necessarily want, and then I get a small discount on all three.
You basically get ESPN Plus for free.
Yeah, but even so, they're not.
right.
I don't think ESPN Plus is showing the games I necessarily want to see. You know
You'd
what
be
I mean?
surprised. I'm shocked how often it's like, oh, the Blues are on ESPN Plus right now.
ESPN Plus is great. I mean, again, it depends on.
Do you get to
kind of sports you're
choose like
watching,
what your teams are, and then they give you the feeds of those?
No,
or
they
what?
just have a ton of games that would otherwise be exclusive to the sports packages.
Yeah.
From the various leagues. So like soccer, like the LA teams show up there quite a bit, and without me having to pay for MLS. A bunch of international sports show up in there pretty regularly.
See, it's interesting because what's weird is that I like the local coverage of my sports because a couple times they had the Indians playing on ESPN, and I did not like the commentators. I'm like,
and my mother should get together and go bowling.
ESPN Plus
She's got
is not
the same
going
issue.
ESPN Plus is not going to affect that in any way.
No.
You get the local feed? And
you get the local feeds of these extra games. It's not ESPN commentators.
Oh, okay.
But they're out of market stuff. You're not going to get your Indians because they're in your market. You can just go to your local Sportsnet to get Cleveland stuff.
Yeah. Right. But if I'm going to cord kill, right? Then
it's blacked out. You have to get Fox Sports Ohio, is that what it is?
Or Sports Time Ohio or something.
Sports Time. To get Sports Time Ohio, you have to get a package that includes Sports Time Ohio. You can't get the Sports Time Ohio stuff through ESPN Plus.
Someone's got to figure this out.
I don't think. I could be wrong about that.
There's also a combination of OTA antennas and streaming AirPlayed to the Apple TV that has worked well for me, but it's a job.
No, I mean it's honestly, folks, it's not hard. If you want,
right? No,
you go
I understand.
Go to suppose.tv, put in the channels you absolutely have to have, pick the service that has them for your lifestyle. Done. Yes, you can do over the air if you have a place with over the air. That makes it a little more complicated. It does get you stuff in real time though, which can be a good thing for sports. But almost all the channels that you need are available through these streaming services. It depends on the region. Sometimes they don't have all the local channels, and that can make it more complex again. But
Tom, you may have just saved my life with this. I'm the suppose.tv here.
But you will. I'm after yesterday's story about the $250 a month bills. I'm like, you will save money. I'm almost certain of it.
Oh, see, that's the thing, right? Like I'm already paying for Hulu without commercials. So the bundle with Disney Plus does me nothing. I'm like, I want to pay with no commercials.
And honestly, Disney Plus is $7 a month. Like if you want it, pay for it. It's really not that much.
Right. No,
But he's just saying it's what do you get? For a different bundle, you might be able to put together.
Yeah. If you already have Hulu commercial free, the bundle doesn't make sense for you.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. That's what I thought. I just thought that they were going to release, like they announced some bundles and then like leading up to the actual release.
I doubt it. I'm almost certain they won't release any more bundles between now and November 12th. Whether they come out with some more bundles after a couple months, maybe. But they don't really have that many other services to bundle in. So,
I mean, when YouTube TV came out, I was like, this is the answer to everything. Mm-hmm. Since then, the price has gone up. And if I'm being honest, all I really did was watch ESPN because I had solutions for network TV. I could just watch for free. And just other stuff I'd kind of get a la carte the way I needed to. And it didn't make sense for me to pay $50 a month, even for something that I think is a really, really good product. Because all I really wanted to do was watch sports when I felt like it. So I can do that more cheaply.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, I'm wondering if Sling TV wouldn't be the right thing for you. Because it's $25 a month. I think it's $25 for the ESPN version of Sling TV. In which case, and then you get other stuff too. Whether ESPN's worth $25 a month for you, that's a whole other question. But no, it's $30. It's $30 a month for the ESPN one. But then you get 32 other channels.
This is interesting.
Sarah, do you like
what?
Well, no, I'm trying to find like Bravo or something, but it's not on here.
I I have other ways to watch my Housewives.
So for $30 a month, you get ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, and then like TNT, AMC, A&E, Food Network, HGTV, History, etc.
Yeah, that's a good bundle.
Yeah.
Again, depends on what you want.
So Tom, I have a question for you. So like I'm on Suppose, I'm looking at this stuff, and with the sports stuff, I see. Never mind. I just answered my own question. I see it down here.
You go down there and select it.
Well, it looks like the best fit for me right now is Hulu Live TV, which is I don't have Hulu. I just have Hulu without commercials, but Hulu Live TV might be pretty good. And it looks like I might be saving some money here.
Yeah, if you add Hulu Live to a Hulu commercial free, I think you save a couple of dollars maybe.
And then, yeah, we'll see here. This is pretty dang good here. Wow. Huh. So live TV, I hate to sound so pedestrian on this stuff. So live TV, when you're on Suppose, I'm choosing these channels. So when I do Hulu Live TV, I will get these channels that I'm choosing.
Yeah. You'll get that plus, all the other channels in that package.
Right. Gotcha.
Because they're saying, Hulu has a package for this much a month that includes the channels that you want.
Oh, this is really cool, dude. This is what I need.
Yeah, Suppose.tv, I think, has done the world a good service.
This is what we needed. This exact thing is exactly. There's a huge hole in the market that I think a lot of people would. This is perfect. This is great.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't know. I don't want to miss my sports, right?
Right.
It's like,
no, that's what it's for me. Right.
Now, the other side of this is you have to have a good enough internet connection for this to work. If you've got a slow internet connection, then that's a whole different situation.
I'm okay. The quickest I can get right now is 50 down. Unfortunately, for some reason they don't offer.
That's probably good enough.
Yeah, 50 down is pretty good.
If not everybody's watching TV streaming in all the rooms of your house at the same time, it's probably.
Well, summer times are tough because all the kids.
You can probably watch a couple. You can probably watch a couple at the same time.
Yeah, you can. All right. We haven't had any major issues, but this is great. And then you get all these BS channels that you're like.
Yeah, you get other stuff in there thrown in.
Yeah, but some of these I don't even watch.
$30, $50, not $90.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
we're paying a lot.
It adds up.
You're not kidding.
And no hidden fees. That's the other thing. My gosh,
this is like this is your.
We're good at that.
You should get Suppose TV as a
like a Cord Killers sponsor?
Yeah, sponsor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Rambling Rock.
Oh.
President with Twitch Prime.
Thanks, Rambling Rock.
Thank you. Did we get all of our Twitch thank yous in? Yes, it looks like we did. Oh, Meg subscribed with Twitch Prime. Captain Patriot gave 200 bits. Hooray.
Thanks for the bits.
Bits and bits and bits.
I love this. This is what I'm doing. Hulu Live TV.
Old guy says, I wish Tom would stop spelling stuff in front of me.
What did you spell?
No, I don't know what I was probably just saying network names. But it sounds like when you're spelling stuff in front of a child. On ABC TV.
Until I looked at Shannon's really cute setup before the show, I was like, I knew it was October. I'm like, yeah, it's about October 5th or whatever day it is. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, Halloween. Yeah. It's right around the corner. It's not that I do a big thing about Halloween, but I'm just like, okay, we're getting into the holidays now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Halloween is 27 days away. What?
I'm telling you, this is the start of everything good. Because not only does October usher in Halloween, but it also is my birthday at the end of the month. So,
it's my birthday this month too.
When's your birthday?
On the 12th.
The 12th. Oh, very soon.
Fun, huh?
Mine
It's
is
Saturday, so I get to hang out by myself, which is the best birthday present ever. Not that I don't want to be with you guys.
This?
Is it a mirror that's shaped like a...
Oh, I saw it. This is cool.
It's a classic. Well, it's supposed to look like a classic PC.
Yeah, I saw this on
like
your feed. This is cool.
Floppy disk spot right there. And if you turn it on,
what does it do?
Watch this.
It might be kind of hard to see.
I hear that.
I see the two eyes or two lights.
Yeah, there's two little eyes right there.
Can you have it face the camera a little bit more?
It says, "Help me! I want some candy."
It's hard to see.
Yeah,
I see the
eyes. Be computer.
It's motion activated too, so I'm totally bringing this out for my
pet.
Halloween party.
It's a conspooker.
It's so cool. It's even got a little on-off switch. I was like, oh my god, I have to have this. It's from Target, so like every nerd should have one of these for their Halloween party.
That's cool.
Target. What can't you do?
Thank you, Target.
You can't build your house with stuff from Target. Oh, you might be able to.
You can build quite a bit of it. You can stock your fridge.
You can stock your fridge.
You can,
you
get some new
drywall?
I don't know about the drywall. I don't know. I don't know.
Can I?
You could buy other water and then just say it's liquid death.
Yeah,
it's just water in a can.
Kind of reminds me of all my Christmases. Well, I didn't get what I wanted, but I could say I did.
It looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Just shut up.
I didn't get an Atari 2600, but I'll pretend this one is.
Why does this doll have a cabbage for a head? It's a Cabbage Patch doll.
Yeah, Cabbage Patch. Come on.
My parents just bought a regular doll and threw it out the Cabbage Patch. There you go.
I don't know if. Well, I don't. It's probably different depending on how old you were during the Cabbage Patch craze and all sorts of things. But it was something that it was like your life was going to end if you didn't get a Cabbage Patch.
I remember
but they were so sold out that it was like it made adults insane, and so then it became this like sort of like it's dangerous out there at the mall.
Because they always replay that one video from the mall
like,
where all the mothers are like rushing like this giant like display.
And you're kind of like they were like expensive and sort of stupid anyway, but you're like
they were so
maybe
expensive.
Still get a Cabbage Patch.
And I remember one of my friends had one, and she let me look at it. It's like, wait, you paid how much for this? It's like, also, isn't this the company that made the ColecoVision? Why are they making dolls?
Cabbage Patch Kids had their day. I had a couple of them, but it was like over the course of like a couple of years, it was like for Christmas, birthdays, any holiday, anything I did right, I'd be like, please, just Cabbage Patch, please, so badly. And it's like, I don't even know where they are. It's like not a collector's item that I took care of or anything because I was a child. But yeah, Cabbage Patch Kids.
That was the Atari 2600 for me. Never got one.
My cousins had one, and the more I played it, the less I wanted it. It's like, man, these are lame. Superman's a dot with like 3 more dots making up his cape.
That's what you tell yourself when you didn't get one. I understand.
No, because what I wanted was the Vectrex. The Vectrex.
What I ended up getting
awesome.
was better. I got the TI 99 4A. It's sitting right over there. Oh, right there.
Yeah, I ended up with a Tandy 1000.
We got the
ColecoVision.
We got the ColecoVision.
Did you get the real ColecoVision?
I did.
Not the Sears ColecoVision?
No, the actual ColecoVision.
Did you get
that was in television.
Did you get the add-on that turned it into the Atom computer?
We did not. But I tell you what, though, I used that as a selling point for my mom. I was in 7th grade, and I said, look, it turns it into a computer. And my mom was like, computers are getting kind of big right now, aren't they? My mom didn't sound anything like that. But
boy, are they hefty.
Len, these computers, I read about that in Time magazine the other day. No, my mom said
there was a point in time where ColecoVision, like after the video game crash in '84, KB, like every store that sold a Coleco or any of those things, they were just having a fire sale. Like they sold the complete ColecoVision or Coleco Atom and like a stack of games for like $100. It's like, just take it. So
well, what exactly could the Atom do? Nothing. It couldn't save anything.
Yeah, it could.
There was.
Yeah, it had tape. It had digital tape drives.
That's hilarious.
You had to get the accessory to be able.
You
to
had
save
to get
stuff,
the official Atom, like cassette tape to record, but you can make your own by drilling a hole in a blank cassette tape in the right spot. The other thing is
really wait. You had to get a cassette tape with a hole in it to record on the Atom.
No, they wanted you to buy the official Coleco version, but
so
it was
they
just
popped a hole in it
it had a hole
that the recorder would check for before it would record.
So it would be like the notch on the floppy disk.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh
right.
God.
But they put the power supply in the printer, so the printer always had to be plugged in.
Well, that was like, like on old cassette tapes, if you busted off the two ends, like then you made that, you couldn't record over that. But if you put a piece of tape over it, then
you
could.
with VHS tapes, right?
Easy to
the right protect. You just put tape over it.
But that was done on purpose so that you wouldn't accidentally record over stuff, which that made sense to me.
Yeah, it could come in handy.
I don't know.
In
computers
fact, I got in a lot of trouble for
home computers back in the 80s were pretty interesting.
We had a Atari 2600, but it wasn't like anyone bought it for me. It was like the family's thing. And it was in my parents' bedroom where like all cool things were. Where I'd like have to be like, hey, can I like play for like a minute in there? Because it wasn't going to be in my room.
Why wasn't it in their room?
That was too, it was sort of like, why was the answering machine in my parents' bedroom? I don't know. It was like where technology went, because like the living room was like, that's for like playing records and I don't know, eating dinner or whatever. And in my room, I just wasn't going to be given like a computer game because I would just never leave the room.
In your room?
Right. Yeah, my parents were strictly against having telephones in the room. They did ease up on a television when I got the TI-99 because I was dominating the television set by having it plugged in the family room. And they very quickly were like, all right, you can use one of the old TVs in your room.
Yeah.
As long as you're using it for the computer.
Right.
The 2600 preceded the house that we lived in where there was like an extra bedroom that became the office where like then we got a computer and then that was like a place that you sat and did things like that. But it was in the earlier days, it was like, we didn't really know where to put things. There was no office in our house.
There was just the extra bedroom.
There wasn't an extra bedroom for a while, but then eventually, there was a 3-bedroom house for, there's just one kid. So there was an extra bedroom.
There was a point in time where I don't remember homes having 4 bedrooms as like a normal thing. It was normally stopped at 3. And then you would have a family room and then like a game/den/living.
Yeah, we didn't even have that. It was 2 bedrooms and the kitchen and living room was the rest of it.
I think our house was built in 1964, the one I grew up in, and it had a big, I think it was supposed to be a dining room next to the kitchen, but my parents used it as a family room. So it was a kitchen and a family room kind of as all one big room. Then we had a living room.
Which was the nice room.
Yeah.
Right?
And then 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
One of which was.
That's pretty, that was later on. I was like, oh, that made a lot more sense. You saw a lot of that. Like the family room was sort of more like comfy. And then the living room, it might be the first room you walk through where you're like, oh, this is very nice.
Nobody's allowed to sit in it.
Sit and have tea.
Well, no, that's where the guests sat. That's where that was like the, this is where they go. Yeah. They don't go any further.
Birthdays and Christmas.
Tree in there. Yeah.
Right. Birthdays and Christmas, when guests came over, we all sat in the living room. And my dad always joked, we don't do any living in the living room.
It's interesting now in our house, we don't have a room like that. Every room is used. Like when you walk into our house, like there's a television in there, you can sit down, you can visit and everything like that. So we don't have a room like that.
Our house here was built in 54 or 55. I think 54 actually. And there's no living room. You walk in and it's a big main open room.
But
I think it was always like
that's more of an antiquated term now, you know, like because I've been to your house and it's like there's lots of room.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. It's not like you're like, well, where's the like formal area?
Yeah.
There is
maybe
no
people still do that, but I think with fewer and fewer
that's what I'm
people
saying.
want
My
that.
house
we make it formal. We call it the parlor.
That's what my dad would call the living room, to tease my mom. He's like, "Oh, you got your parlor." But what I'm saying is, my house was built in '54. You think it would have those antiquated divisions, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
New builds these days have like a foyer or a computer room or an office at the front, and then they have a gathering or great room. That's the living room, basically. There is no formal room.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you look at like decently priced builds, they don't even have a dining room now. They just have a kitchen, a dining area.
It's all open concept.
And then they have the great room.
Oh, and don't you love the way they say open concept, so lovable, great for entertaining, and you're like, but there's like not a lot of room.
Yeah.
The thing about open concept is unless you have a really amazing like duct or a hood over your stove, if you're cooking, that smell is going to permeate everything within eyesight.
Everywhere. Yep.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either.
No, that's the point. Everyone smells your delicious cooking when you're entertaining.
What are you burning in
it smells
dinner?
so good. What are you making, Roger?
I'm making your supper. You better finish it if you know it's good for you.
It was funny when I was home visiting my mom a couple of weeks ago up in the Bay Area where I saw some of you. My mom had gone out somewhere and like she does not live in a big house, but you know, it's sort of like if she comes in from the garage, there's sort of a hallway to move down until she finally eventually gets to the kitchen. And she walks in and she was like, well, somebody made breakfast. And I'm like, I made like eggs and toast. Like, you know, like there's just a funny thing where I'm like, is this really like
that's
an offensive smell?
Cooking smells are a divisive issue. Some people are not bothered by them. Some people hate them.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It really depends on the food.
Yeah.
Like I've had people complain about like, oh, what's that smell? It's like, oh, it's just my mom's cooking. And it's like, to me, it smells great. But then it's like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Well, this was also her food. But I just like found in the freezer and made. So I'm like, I made some breakfast.
Wait, how did you know it was like supposed to be eaten? Like,
I will be surprised when we make bacon in the morning and then go out somewhere and come back, be like, whoa, the house smells like bacon. I didn't even notice it when I was here.
Yeah.
So part of it is just whether you're coming into a new situation or not.
There have been a few times where I've made fish for dinner and I think, you know, it tastes great. It's delicious. I go to bed, you know, and you clean up and everything.
Right.
But then in the morning you're like, ooh, and I don't like that. That's not I wanted that smell to finish last night.
Fish, you should be eating more fish. Fish is really good for you, but there's this sort of prejudice of like, but don't cook it around me.
Yeah.
You're certainly not going to bring it to work and put it in the microwave.
We used to have a sign in Revision 3, like no reheating your fish in the
microwave.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to offend anybody, but I reheat fish in my own microwave all the time. You don't like it? Get out.
Right, exactly. It's your own, but there is a social pressure against that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, it's true.
All right. Well.
There's also a social pressure called the weekend, where we all just take the weekend off and relax. And I wish that were actually true.
Or just work the entire weekend.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm like, I just have to start my other show in a couple.
We're going to let you folks do that. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. And please don't go microwaving fish around anyone else. Have a good
Have a good day.
Good day, Internet.
For fishing.